Meteorites, alien invaders that crash through our atmosphere and fall to Earth without warning. Steve Arnold and Geoff Notkin live to exhume these scientific wonders from deep space.
Numero uno!
Got one! Yay!
They are
Fantastic.
the Meteorite Men. On this expedition, the guys take their hunt to America's heartland.
Trying to find buried stone meteorites is one of the most challenging aspects of our work.
They're here, or at least they used to be here, and I think they still are.
As the search throws up false target,
11 pieces of wire and no meteorites.
after false target,
You just had to throw a wet towel on my joint.
emotions run high,
It's a very nice rock that's not a meteorite.
and the Meteorite Men are at a standoff
Still looks better than anything you found.
until a change of location brings with it a change of fortune.
Woo! It's a beauty.
Space rocks, traveling at an astounding 17,000 miles per hour. Meteorites careen to Earth and remain buried until now. On this mission, Geoff and Steve are going to have to plow the cornfields of America's heartland in central Iowa, near the town of Amana. Founded as an economic commune by a German religious sect in the mid-1800s, the Amana colony spread over 6 villages and 26,000 acres of rolling farmland. In 1875, when the decidedly low-tech colonists were at the height of their success, they witnessed a truly space-age event at 10:15 p.m. local time. A brilliant orange-yellow meteor, leaving a long, luminous trail behind it.
The flight path of this enormous fireball from 1875 was south-southeast to northwest.
At an altitude of several miles, the space rock fragmented and showered the farmland below.
This meteorite broke up. A lot of pieces are out there. We're here to find more of those pieces.
The larger mass traveled north and has yet to be recovered. Smaller meteorites rained down west of Amana, creating an impact site approximately 5 miles long and 4 miles wide. Since it also fell close to the now defunct town of Homestead, Iowa, it's also still commonly referred to as the Homestead meteor.
It's an historic fall. A lot of meteorites fell. A lot of stones were recovered in really pristine condition.
And this is a farming community. It's rural.
There's a lot of crops, a lot of corn out there. That is very restrictive for the hunting.
Steve and Geoff's field of dreams could be one giant field of obstacles. Years of tilling the soil may have pushed the space rocks deeper into the ground, far below the range of metal detectors. To steal a leg up in this demanding terrain, the guys visit the local museum to inspect the yardstick of previous finds, from which all others will be judged.
Hey, Geoff, Steve.
You must be Lenny.
Yes, I am. Welcome to the Amana
Thank
Heritage
you.
Museum.
It's a pleasure to meet you. So my friend Steve tells me there's a rumor you have a splendid meteorite on display here.
Yes, we have a splendid one on display, but better yet, we've got a more splendid one in our storage room.
You've got a secret hidden meteorite in storage here.
Well, it's not secret and hidden, but it is in storage.
It sounds so much
Yeah.
more intriguing.
Just
when
say
you
yes.
it
Yes,
that way.
yes.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
Well, let's see the one on display first. It's upstairs.
We're ready to see it if you're ready to show it to us.
I'm ready.
Splendid. Lead on, sir.
This is a piece of the 54-pound one that was found just between Middle Amana and High Amana.
Really?
That is what we're looking
Your
for.
Excellency. That is spectacular.
Well, this is only the supporting actor in our cast of meteorites, however.
I like the way this is going. So,
if I may, we would love to see the other one.
Okay. Somebody's going to have to carry it out of the basement, actually.
Steve's very strong.
Oh, okay.
He's really good at that. I've got a magnet to test just so that we can verify that it's a real meteorite.
Okay.
That wouldn't be too good.
Well, if it turns out it's not.
It would be embarrassing.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be. Well, let's go take a look at it.
Very good. Are you kidding me? That's not real. That is literally out of this world.
Steve and Geoff are amazed by the crown jewel of the museum's collection, a colossal 74-pound stony meteorite discovered by a farmer in the summer of 1875. Pound for pound, this space rock is more valuable than silver, but its scientific worth is even greater. While Earth rock has been transformed by geological forces for billions of years, most meteorites come from the asteroid belt and have remained much as they were when the solar system was formed. By examining meteorites, scientists can determine the chemical composition of the solar system as it was being born. Museum director Lanny Holdy looks on with pride as Geoff and Steve examine this relic of ancient space history.
What's amazing is the thumbprints are actually the size of thumbprints. They're not real little ones.
It's a very unusual regmaglypting pattern.
Regmaglyphs are thumbprint-like impressions formed when a space rock enters our atmosphere, traveling at astonishing speed. Air in front of the rock generates friction and atmospheric pressure, raising its surface temperature to approximately 3,000 degrees. The exterior of the rock boils in a physical process known as ablation. The uneven flow of superheated air repeatedly vaporizes parts of the meteorite's surface, creating the distinctive thumbprint pattern. But Homestead's extraterrestrial treasure is more than mere eye candy. It's also a calibration device.
Thought it'd be interesting to test our equipment on an actual homestead, see where it reads on the scale, and then when we're out in the field hunting, we might have a clue as to what to look for.
Geoff's detector is able to differentiate the elements within each rock. The guys are looking for stony meteorites, referred to in the meteorite hunting trade simply as a stone. Despite their name, stones contain more iron than a typical rock that originated here on Earth.
The Homestead meteorite's an L-chondrite. That means it's low in iron, but still much higher in iron than most terrestrial rocks.
If the readout on Geoff's display is above 40, that means iron is present, and potentially a chunk of the Homestead meteorite.
Starting to pick it up there. 40 and 41? That's the sound we want to hear when we're hunting.
With their detectors set to zero in on the type of stony meteor that fell in this area 137 years ago, they undertake one final piece of research.
Hello, Ray.
Hello.
Ray Anderson is a geologist for Iowa's Department of Natural Resources. He's compiled the most complete map of the Amana meteor's 20-square-mile crash site.
Yes, this is basically a digitized version of the strewn field. The sizes of the dots are related to the size of the meteorites, from the smallest ones up to these big circles, and then the small squares, and then the big squares, the largest. If you look at the distribution, you see most of these are up in these upland areas or down in the river valley. These are the flatter areas that I assumed were being farmed at the time.
As the guys examine the map, an anomaly sparks their interest.
This whole area here is just crying out for a search.
Isn't it?
If this is a conventional strewn field, there should be scores of small pieces all down through here.
And maybe even way back several miles, off the map even.
When you look at the Homestead strewn field map, there's immediately one fact that jumps out that appears wrong. There are a considerable number of medium, large, and very large pieces. There are almost no small pieces recorded on the map. Why is that? Is it possible that no small pieces fell? No, it's not possible.
So I want to look there. The smaller end, you would just have to think that there's little pieces.
I am very interested in going to the smaller end and trying to find what should be an abundant number of meteorites that were missed back in 1875.
With eyes on two different locations, the guys begin their hunt in the easier spot first.
I'm optimistic I might find something here. It's in the small end, so there's gonna be more small pieces, so there's a higher chance of finding something. This is as good a place as any.
Almost immediately, Steve picks up a strong signal.
Barbed wire. Ah, another piece of wire. Wow, barbed wire. How lucky can I get? A couple more hours, I'll be able to put a fence back together.
Nearby, Geoff isn't faring any better.
It's just littered with man-made trash. This is why the detector is going off all the time. I want to find an area that's nice and clean because we're looking for very faint targets. This is not the easiest kind of meteorite hunting.
Discouraged by the junk-littered fields, Geoff and Steve move on to their next location. A marshy area across the river that's almost impossible to get to.
When we looked at the strewn field map, we saw a hole in it. Nothing was found in this area, probably because nobody can get here.
Since they're separated from their target area by deep water, the Meteorite Men are forced to take extreme measures.
So we decided to call in the hydrotrack. It's amphibious. It gets in the water, it gets out of the water, it goes across the land. Roads, where we're going, we don't need roads.
We are finally getting to really put the hydrotrack through its paces. Who gets to drive a turretless tank into the water and then turn it into a boat? It's really fantastic.
Some of the banks out here are really sharp, so we're looking for these little beaches, these little sandbars on the edge that we can come up and land and go hunt from.
Because this area is so difficult to get to, back in the winter of 1875, nobody bothered coming out here to look for them. Because it's tough to get to today in the modern world. It must have been really difficult back then when they didn't have hydrotracks.
This looks good right here, this little riverbed, stream bed thing. Oh, there's a 41.
Let's dig it.
Ah. It's in there.
I think it might have been mineralization.
Yeah, it wasn't a real strong hit.
Soil around the world varies in its level of mineralization. In Iowa, water has forced iron compounds to migrate to the surface. And it's this iron content that is throwing up false target after false target.
Might be a quarter.
Undeterred, Steve carries on and soon finds himself in another tangle.
Wire. Why do they need a barbed wire fence out here?
If this area was fenced, perhaps the colonists did settle here after all, and they might have picked the site clean.
I know there's some big ones. There's this big 2 square mile gap in the middle of the big end of the strewn field, which has this river running through it, has this forest running through it. They're here, or at least they used to be here, and I think they still are.
With 2 strikeouts, the guys head upriver to their next location.
Trying to find buried stone meteorites is one of the most challenging aspects of our work. When we're looking for irons or stony irons, They're rich in ferrous material and give a very strong audio signal. The most meteorites out here are going to have 20% iron, which means a faint signal. They could be fairly deeply buried. And so, to give myself a little extra edge, I'm going to start hunting with the headphones. Blocks out extraneous noise, and it allows me to hear fainter signals more clearly. Plus, obviously, I can't hear Steve yelling at me. It's a big bonus.
Meteorites high in iron content come from the core of large asteroids or exploded planets from other solar systems. Stones, on the other hand, are remnants of the outer crust. They provide scientists with valuable insight into the history of our solar system, and distant ones as well. After just a few hours into the search, Steve's detector picks up a strong signal, which could mean he's found a meteorite buried in the iron-rich Iowa soil.
Looks like there's rust on the dirt here. It's like it's overloading on something. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Not barbed wire this time, but unfortunately, another meteor wrong.
No idea what it is. Piece of junk. I'm not even gonna try to dig it up. Not a meteorite. I don't care what it is. Well, it was a chest of gold, maybe.
With 3 strikeouts, Geoff uses his GPS to make sure he's standing under the known trajectory of the Homestead meteorite.
I am standing almost right on the flight path, so the incoming meteoroid would have come from that direction, gone over my head, and dropped the biggest pieces just a little further down there. Out here in this fairly wild and unexplored area, we would expect a few very large masses. That's when the numbers game comes into play.
And while following the original flight path might seem like a good idea, it's not quite as easy when you're inches deep in mud and water.
Oh, this isn't good. All right, let's try again. Oh, crap. We're stuck. Ah! We're stuck in the mud. Oh, and we have a flat tire. Well, let's test this winch out.
And the expedition goes from bad to worse when the guy's trusty workhorse becomes landlocked.
Can you get it?
Maybe.
Okay, we're almost there. That's it. Okay. All right, we're good. If we can get it into the water, we can at least get to the other side.
Right.
The propellers.
Yep. Okay, let's try to, go there in the middle.
Well, that was a narrow escape. I mean, I know I criticize you for wrecking vehicles, but I must say that after you've wrecked a vehicle, you do usually manage to bring back what's left of it, and that is very admirable. It's impressive.
After another dead end, Geoff and Steve regroup to brainstorm their next strategy. The guys decide to turn to the local community for help. Perhaps some folklore might give the guys intel to help reboot their hunt. Hosting their first ever antique rock show, Steve and Geoff asked the locals to bring any mysterious rocks to them for inspection.
Howdy, folks.
Any new space rock could provide the guys with a lead on where to hunt next.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
What's your name?
Will?
What do you have?
Oh, I found this out in my Omanopa's backyard in Hyamana.
I'm gonna say, unfortunately, this is not a meteorite, and I'm gonna let Geoff say what it is, because I don't know what it is.
I would say that it is hematite. It's the right kind of color. It's a good meteorite, a very good one. Thanks for bringing that in.
Appreciate it. It is a little
It
magnetic.
is.
Nice fusion crust.
It's got quartz crystals in it.
Quartz is an essential component in many earthbound rocks, not in space rocks.
So, Charlie, here is an actual stone meteorite.
Okay.
And notice the remarkable similarity in color.
Yeah.
But feel how heavy that one is for its size.
Oh, yeah.
And look at this.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I can see it. It's okay.
But good try. You did the right thing in bringing it in.
Next.
Well, hello.
Hi. It's my paperweight.
What do you think? Look at it looks like weathered chondrules on the inside. And look at the shaping there.
Chondrules are tiny molten droplets formed in space, a telltale sign of a stony meteorite.
This is a meteorite. What's the story behind this piece?
Okay, my great-great-great-grandfather was the granary operator in Homestead in 1875. And this was evidently one of the meteorites he collected at that time.
Wow.
The meteorite is an impressive piece, but the owner is unable to give the guys any more information as to where it was found.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What a treat to see a real meteorite.
Turning to their original map of the strewn field, the guys decide to home in on a small hilly region directly under the meteorite's flight path.
So the line of flight from the 1875 fireball was right about where that hill is, the hill. Right over me head, dropping pieces all along. Probably right there, drop one right there. Well, almost. So that is where we shall begin the search.
Once again, the guys split up and begin to grid their own sections of turf.
I actually am using some logic here, because if the fireball originated in that direction and flew overhead, isn't it logical to assume that pieces would have landed on this face of the hill rather than on the other one?
But it is on that side that Steve has a signal.
Geoff, look what I found.
What have you got?
A rock of fusion crust.
Fusion crust is one of the telltale signs that the guys look for when hunting for space treasure. Traveling through space at up to 150,000 miles per hour, meteorites are slowed down by friction and pressure once they enter our atmosphere. As the rock cools, its molten surface forms a dark coating known as a fusion crust.
Liftoff.
60 years ago, fusion crust found on recovered meteorites helped scientists to figure out how to keep astronauts safe while returning to Earth after a mission in outer space. Geoff and Steve held a video conference with NASA senior scientist Daniel Rasky to find out how.
Back in the 50s, when they were trying to get vehicles to go to the speed of sound, they were finding that they had a problem because the leading edges and the sharp portions of the vehicle would melt. These two gentlemen, Dean Chapman and Harvey Allen, started looking at meteorites and trying to understand how did they manage to survive very, very high speeds coming into the atmosphere. And so they actually looked at the shape and actually eventually devised what's called the blunt body design.
Allen and Chapman discovered that these blunt-nosed re-entry designs deflected the heat and slowed the craft down more quickly, thereby protecting the vehicle.
I find it remarkable and kind of inspiring that the study of meteorites has actually helped the space program.
And welcome home.
Absolutely. If you come across any unusual meteorites with some unusual shapes, we'd love to see them, to see if there may be some secrets there that could help us in our advanced vehicle designs.
It's a deal.
Okay, it's a deal.
On the plains of Iowa, the Meteorite Men continue to debate Steve's find. Despite the appearance of what may be fusion crust, the heat signature of a space rock, Geoff remains skeptical.
There's some attraction, but I don't think it's enough. It feels a bit light, I think, for a stone. I don't think that's a meteorite.
You just had to throw a wet towel on my joy, didn't you?
I'm just trying to be realistic. You asked me what I thought.
Within minutes, Steve thinks he's found further evidence to bolster his case. Another space rock, only 3 feet away from his first find.
And how about this one?
This one what?
Another one.
Really?
Yeah, and it's a 41, 42, 41.
Steve's new rock corresponds to the frequency of the museum sample, a very promising sign.
See, it sticks.
Barely.
Whoa, check it out. Look at the rust. That is so typical meteorite color right there. And it looks like there's fusion crust on all the sides except right here and here.
Despite Steve's optimism, Geoff continues to have doubts.
What is it? It's a very nice rock that's not a meteorite.
Still looks better than anything you found.
That's true.
The guys have reached a standoff. They decide to take the most promising specimen they've found so far and get a second opinion. Time to visit one of their most trusted consultants, Dr. Lawrence Garvey of Arizona State University, 1,500 miles west of the Hawkeye State. But before heading out to the desert, Steve has an idea.
Well, you know, Geoff, on the way to Arizona to visit Garvey, we go through Kansas.
What, do you want to go back to Brenham?
I was thinking more the Alpha site.
The Alpha Site is a secret hunting ground in Kansas known only to the Meteorite Men.
I think it's a super idea.
If you're game, I'm game.
I don't see why we should drive through Kansas and not stop and do some hunting on the way.
Kansas, here we come.
They're keeping the exact location under wraps because they know that many of the meteorites found there contain something tremendously valuable.
Oh, that sounds very solid.
That's big.
In 2010, the guys unearthed an extremely rare meteorite known as a palisite from these windswept plains.
Ah! Yes! Woohoo! Ah!
Palisites originated several billion years ago near the molten iron core of an asteroid. It's on the outside edge of that core where palisites develop their unique mixture of elements.
Iron meteorites are thought to have once been part of the molten core of a large asteroid, and most stone meteorites are believed to have been part of the crust or mantle. Palisites are thought to have formed on a very narrow horizon inside an asteroid, the core-mantle boundary, where the core is beginning to cool and these olivine crystals grow. Stone meteorites could come from almost any part of an asteroid apart from the core. Palisites can only come from this little part. Conditions have to be just right for them to form, and then the asteroid has to get smashed up so that those pieces can escape into space, and then they have to cross paths with us, our planet, and then we have to find them. No wonder they're so rare.
Palisites contain exquisite olivine crystals. This mineral, named for its olive green color, is also found on Earth, and in gem form, it's known as peridot, the August birthstone. But space rocks containing olivine are extremely rare. Like Iowa, Kansas is considered a good place to find meteorites because it's open country with few terrestrial rocks at the surface. For this mission, the guys will search a smaller section of the top secret site, and Steve is confident that they'll soon be digging up jewels from outer space.
Woo.
It's chilly.
We're not in Iowa anymore, Dorothy.
Really?
Wow.
The 223-pounder that we found was that way?
Yeah, on the big end of the strewn field. This is the small end of Alpha, and the last 2 times we were here, we were up farther north at the bigger end of the strewn field. I've already hunted this. I found meteorites on that side and on this side. So this quarter section with nothing being found, I think there's a shot at finding something small that the big one would have missed. All right.
On this expedition, in order to better their odds, Geoff and Steve are using a new, highly sensitive detector to probe deeper below the surface of the Alpha site. Ironically, using a more sensitive detector in Iowa would have been problematic. The high iron content in the soil there would have registered too many meteor wrongs.
Looks like there's rust on the dirt here. This detector is extremely sensitive, able to pick up small meteorites at modest depths and very large meteorites at very deep depths. One of the best detectors in the world. And it's actually pretty lightweight.
While Steve kickstarts the hunt with his deep sensing detector, Geoff heads out with a smaller handheld unit. Like Homestead, Alpha is located on terrain that has been farmed for generations. And before long, Geoff comes across the Meteorite Men's nemesis.
Yeah. This is obviously the wire kingdom of Kansas.
An hour into the search, Geoff's detector focuses on a target.
Steve, I got a big target over here. The detector's overloading. I really like it when it does that.
Do you? All right.
That means it's substantial. What?
Oh, right here.
Oh, it was really good wire.
Yeah!
Well, the count so far, I think, is 11 pieces of wire and no meteorites. If we collect all the wire fragments and string them together, we could probably fence this whole property.
Steve's large coil picks up a strong signal, an indication of long-buried galactic treasure or another meteor wrong.
Well, that sounded good. Wow. Geoff! Come here!
What have you got?
I got a real good signal. Maybe too good. I
What's
don't know.
too good?
Well, too big.
It's reading really high. You want to just leave it?
Are we any closer?
There's something down there. It's definitely iron. Magnet sticking. But is that human or extraterrestrial? Well, I can't tell what it is, and I can't shift it either. Ah, damn it. It's definitely man-made.
Okay.
Oh well, so much for that one.
Time may be running out, but Steve has one more idea to push the hunt into second gear.
Is that your sun chair?
No, it's yours.
Really? You made that for me?
Yes.
I've often wondered what a vehicle would look like if you owned it for years. It's just so classic. The whole front end is smashed in, the lights are smashed, there's no back window, the tires are all different, and you've got this device on the back. Is that your sun chair?
Would you like a tour?
I would. I know I have said that I considered the giant coil to be your greatest invention, but I think this actually may now be your greatest invention.
True to form, Steve has found a way to do whatever it takes to track down meteorites, wherever they may be hiding.
But I want you to remember some things that have happened in the past with you and heavy equipment.
Oops.
Whoa!
Uh-oh. I broke it.
That's not good.
I definitely like to tease Steve, because he's a bit of a kook. But what a brilliant guy.
We have this new piece of equipment, our Lorenz detector, which is really great for detecting solid iron and the stony iron meteorites with about 50% iron in them. It wasn't any good for us in Homestead, but we brought it along anyway. And coming through, it was like, hey, why not try it out here?
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant.
And I was even thinking of you, Geoff.
The guys will do virtually anything to grab a chunk of space. But one thing they'll never do is skimp on luxury.
Oh, look at that! There's a drink holder. Okay, now I have literally seen everything. Anyone who thinks meteorite hunting is hard work better think again.
That's right.
This is opening up a whole new dimension. Oh, I need a cocktail and a sunshade.
Steve will drive the truck with the large coil detector hitched to the back and dragged behind, while Geoff keeps his ears tuned for any telltale signs of a possible find.
Just went over something big.
When the guys hit a target, Steve zeroes in with a handheld detector.
28, 27.
I mean, it really wailed. It doesn't seem like it could have been a little piece of wire. Do you want to go over it again?
The guys loop back to home in on their target. Is it buried space treasure or more discarded agricultural trash?
Hold it, hold it. We're right on top of it. It's pretty substantial.
Okay.
That's making a nice loud signal.
Oh. Geoff.
You're kidding me.
And score.
Oh my God! Whoa! Okay, I've seen enough of these. We don't need to do this.
Yes! Whoa, it's a beauty.
Oh my God. Look how cute it is.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
We've never found one that size.
Oh no.
It's got beautiful surface features.
Oh yeah.
And then when we went over the meteorite, the sound was very different. It was very shrill, it was high-pitched, it was very clear and loud, and it immediately sounded a bit different, which is why I actually got out of the harness.
It looks like a big one. Just
Yeah, no
a mini.
kidding. A little asteroid.
Wow. How much do you think that weighs?
Over a kilo.
Yeah, maybe a kilo and a half.
1,300 grams, I guess. I got a scale back at camp.
Okay.
Wow. That is stunning. Crystals. A little bit on the surface.
Yeah.
This one just sounded different, and I wanted to see it come out of the ground, and I'm so glad I did, because that was the real thing.
That's just extra amazing. I know we found bigger, but we've hardly ever seen any meteorites from this site that were so well preserved and such a lovely shape.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
This is a complete individual of a palisite meteorite from the asteroid belt. It's not a fragment. It's not a broken piece. This landed on its own, and it's just everything a meteorite should be. They're olivine crystals. You can see them glinting in the sun.
The meteorites here at Alpha are palisades, and not only are they one of the rarest meteorite types, they're also one of the most beautiful when they're cut and polished and reveal the crystals inside.
This is an amazing little piece. It broke off the larger mass, no doubt. This is a piece of the other pieces that were found here. Broke up high in the atmosphere coming in. The smaller pieces dropped off, the bigger ones going farther. This is the smallest piece I found.
Nice surface features, crystals showing that it's a palisite. It's in really good shape, very well preserved. Some of the pieces that we found here have been so corroded.
Oh, yeah.
One had even fallen apart underground.
Half iron, half crystal. It's just stony iron, and it's a palisite.
And when we went over this target, it just sounded different from all the others. Remember I said it was shrill?
Shrill, right.
It had a short duration, but it was really high pitched. It just kind of went, meow! Really loud and clear. Not, when we run over pieces of wire, it was a bit more crackly.
Right.
It had a very distinctive sound. It was completely different from every other target that we've gone over with the device. So that's really useful to know. That's something to listen for. And we also now know the number on the digital scale that the detector assigns it.
And the method is proven. We didn't have that much to lose on this one. Might as well give it a shot. We did it, we scored, you know, and it's like all of a sudden, all the misery and the frustration of Homestead fades away, and it reminds me once again why I'm out here doing this.
What makes the rock even more rare and potentially valuable is the fact that it started off in space the same way it ended up on Earth, as a unitary object unto itself. As the saying goes, no man is an island, but this rock was.
This is a complete individual of a palisite meteorite from the asteroid belt. It's not a fragment, it's not a broken piece.
If this meteorite was part of a larger mass, it would appear more angular. But this rock is rounded and almost sculpted in appearance.
This landed on its own, and it's just everything a meteorite should be.
The meteorites here at Alpha are pallasites, and not only are they one of the rarest meteorite types, they're also one of the most beautiful when they're cut and polished and reveal the crystals inside.
It's the only extraterrestrial gem we have. A good portion of the asteroid belt consists of rocks, basically, and then a few have the olivine grains. So it's a rarity to begin with, right in the asteroid belt. How many of them are going to actually hit the Earth? Not many. So when one does hit, it's a rare occurrence.
And in the world of gems, rare equals pricey. A carat of gems cut from a palisite can sell for more than $1,000.
It's in really good shape, very well preserved. Some of the pieces that we found here have been so corroded.
Oh, yeah.
One had even fallen apart underground.
You get so used to seeing the trash and the horseshoes and the barbed wire and the wrenches and all this stuff. All of a sudden, boom, out pops this cantaloupe-sized meteorite, and it's like, wow, yeah.
Now it's time to see if their trip to Iowa was a winner or a waste of time. Dr. Lawrence Garvey of Arizona State University is an expert at identifying and analyzing the composition of space rocks. First up, Steve's Meteor Maybe.
It doesn't look like a meteorite. To me, it has no characteristics of a meteorite whatsoever, except it's made of stone.
Yeah.
Steve has struck out. His mystery rock is sadly of earthly origin and doesn't even pass Dr. Garvey's eyeball test.
Did you find anything else? I mean, was this it?
Actually, we did stumble upon this little one.
Ah, that looks more interesting.
This is a better chance of being a meteorite than the other one.
It looks like a complete fragment.
It's from our palisite Alpha location, our little secret location.
So does a magnet stick to it?
Oh, yes.
It does?
Yes, please try.
Oh.
That's not bad, is it?
That's good.
Garvey places the celestial rock under a high-powered microscope.
So this is the exterior of the sample. This paler stuff around the outside is the olivine. Beautiful gemmy olivine, also called
peridot.
Peridot.
And you can see the yellow and the green that's typical of very pure olivine. It has that look, just something that's been rounded in the melting process.
Okay, why don't we look at plain light first, plain polarized light, so not cross-polar. So just see if we see anything interesting. So here my polarizing.
Ordinary white light reflects off the surface of an object at all possible angles, creating glare. By applying a polarizing filter, Dr. Garvey removes all but one particular angle of reflected light, eliminating the glare and revealing microscopic details hidden in the stone.
This is just reflected light now. You can see the olivine crystals here and here. So this is reflected light. So what we're going to do now is do some transmitted light. So let's turn off the reflected light now.
Transmitted polarized light strikes the specimen at one particular angle and is used to look for minerals that reflect only that particular angle of light. In this case, olivine crystals.
We turn off the reflected light, we can see the nice olivine crystal here, and we're actually seeing through the crystal. So if we do cross polars now, we should be able to see if we see any interference colors.
Applying a cross-polarization filter divides reflected light waves into two mutually perpendicular components. The resulting interference pattern creates rainbow-like color combinations that are unique to each mineral.
Okay, beautiful. Look at that.
That is fantastic.
That is a spectacular image.
The chemical composition of the alphasite meteorite is made crystal clear.
The more techniques we use, the better the story. But just by studying the metal, by studying the olivines, it's sort of telling us about this early asteroids.
Stony meteorites, like the giant fireball that fell on Amana, Iowa, originate from the crust of an asteroid. Pallasites, like the one that the guys found in Kansas, come from the boundary between the mantle and the iron core.
We like to think of these differentiated asteroids with a metal core and a silicate crust, and maybe this material represents the junction between these two regions.
Even if they're not as beautiful as olivine-rich pallasites, all meteorites enable scientists to see how heavenly bodies form in places other than Earth. They serve as a kind of handheld telescope that allows astronomers to look beyond our own solar system into parts of the distant universe that we may someday visit, either in person or by using robotic probes.
Thank you for taking us on this amazing journey to the interior beauty of pallasites. That is really something. They are beautiful.